and the humanitarian conditions there worsen. Israel is under growing international pressure. On Friday, South Africa filing a case against Israel at the International Court of Justice, and even Israel's ally, the U.S., stepping up pressure on the Netanyahu administration. Are there any signs that the Israeli government is taking note and reacting to this?
I don't think that the South African move will have any major impact on Israel. A spokesperson did not only reject the move, the spokesperson even said, I quote, that Israel is disgusted by it. As you know, even the repeated pressure by the United States to move on to a more targeted, to a less intense phase of the war has not brought any significant changes yet. South Africa has asked the court to take immediate action, to issue immediate measures in the coming days, but many legal experts say that this is more of a symbolic act anyway. But no matter what the outcome of this is, it can influence very strongly the public opinion on Israel and the war.
Well, thank you very much for that update. That's Jan Philipp Schultz in Jerusalem. And let's bring you up to speed now with some other world news headlines. U.S. President Joe Biden's administration has bypassed Congress to approve an emergency arms sale to Israel for the second time this month. Components for artillery shells are included in the nearly $150 million transfer. The State Department said the decision was justified by the urgency of Israel's needs. Flooded railway tunnels under the River Thames have forced the cancellation of more than a dozen Eurostar trains between London and Europe. Engineers are working to fix the problem, but Eurostar is warning of severe delays. Thousands of passengers have been left stranded just before New Year's Eve. Thousands of people are protesting in the Serbian capital Belgrade over alleged fraud in this month's elections. The demonstration comes as rerun votes were held in a handful of polling stations across the country. President Aleksandar Vucic's party won the vote decisively, but international observers reported irregularities. The opposition is calling for the results to be thrown out. And UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has condemned Russia's latest attacks on Ukraine. President Volodymyr Zelensky says at least 39 people were killed in Friday's nationwide air assaults. A researcher in the War Studies Department at King's College London. I spoke to her earlier and I asked her if Ukraine's rockets and drones were revenge for Russia's heavy airstrikes a day earlier.
Good day. Well, I think it is very plausible to believe that Ukraine had to formulate some sort of response in this short window of opportunity. But generally speaking, we have seen attacks from Ukrainian territory on Belgrade. We have seen some attacks on Moscow, most notably in May during the May celebrations. So I think it's a mixture of both. We have to remember that this is a war. It's not a quid pro quo. One side is not waiting until another one attacks in order to conduct some operations. However, I think for Ukraine, this is important to do it right now to demonstrate its resilience and to demonstrate that it still has the capability to respond, perhaps not in kind. However, it has to do something to demonstrate the will of Ukrainian people to resist the Russian aggression in the international arena where the support for Ukraine is waning.
Now, looking at Russia's strikes on Ukraine, I mean, Russia hit practically every corner of Ukraine in Friday's air attacks that officials are describing as the biggest since the start of this war. Did the scale of the attacks there come as a surprise at this point in the war?
Well, perhaps because we haven't seen many strikes of that scale being conducted. And the first one was when the war has started. And so over the years, we have heard that Russia is running out of missiles. But as a matter of fact, Russia is not running out of missiles. And Russia has been preparing for this attack. End of November, it has tested Kiev's air defenses with Shahed drones, for instance. And here we're seeing that, especially after the Ukrainian attack on Russian warship in Feodosia, it was a sort of a logical response by Russia to target Ukraine's military facilities, drone factories, ammunition factories, everything that they could locate in order to destroy Ukraine's capability to conduct such strikes in the future.
And we heard a Ukrainian Air Force spokesperson saying that Russia has launched everything it has, including X-22 missiles, which are extremely hard to intercept. What does that tell you about Russia's strategy at this point?
Well, I think Russia has stepped up its game in terms of the missiles it is using in order to evade the Western supplied air defenses, such as the Patriot batteries. And I think we also have to understand that Russia has ramped up its capacity to produce missiles. There have been many reports from Western sources indicating such, and indicating the fact that Russia has managed to circumvent the sanctions in order to get the necessary parts. So we shouldn't be underestimating Russia and thinking that it might run out of missiles. Quite the opposite. I think that we're likely to see more of those sophisticated missiles to be used in Ukraine.
Marina Moran, thank you as always for your analysis. That is Marina Moran from King's College London.
Thank you for having me.
And Germany is on high alert for flooding, with heavy rainfall battering many areas. Officials say the situation in the northwest is critical as rivers and streams overflow. And in western Germany, forecasters have warned that almost a month's worth of rain could fall in the next 24 hours.
A landscape of lakes created by the floodwaters in the northwestern state of Lower Saxony. Many communities can now only be reached by boat. And in this village, you need rubber boots or an inflatable dinghy to get around. Water levels are rising relentlessly.
I thought I was seeing things. It's like a swimming pool full of clear water. You just don't know what to do.
Surrounding low-lying areas are also badly affected. The flood dikes are simply giving way under the weight of water. Police and military helicopters have been sent in to strengthen the dikes. A nearby care home had to be evacuated overnight.
Following COVID-19, this is the second major crisis our residents have had to deal with. Many are suffering from dementia, and of course, they are better off in their home environment.
The pumps are already running 24 hours a day, and there's no let-up in sight.
Unfortunately, there is more rain on the way. The next low-pressure system is likely to bring 10 to 20 litres of rain to the north by Sunday. In hilly areas, that could rise to 30 or 40 litres, a fortnight's worth, and it's not likely to ease off in the next few days.
Many local authorities have banned fireworks in the run-up to New Year, and flooding sightseers are being told to stay away.
And zookeepers in England are celebrating the birth of a critically endangered cockerel sifaka, also known as the dancing lemur. We'll get to that dancing in just a moment, but first, here's the little one born September 21st. It's an important birth as this species is under threat from deforestation in its native home, Madagascar. And here is exactly why it's known as the dancing lemur, skipping sideways from one place to the other, sashaying to and fro. What moves it has. Well, that is your news update at this hour. Coming up next is Reporter with a look at efforts to save New Zealand's national bird, the kiwi. Don't miss it. And if you want more news, check out our website, dw.com. Thank you so much for watching.
So, you don't think and feel the same way. You expect and want different things from life than your parents do.
I just want to pursue what sets my soul on fire.
Or you think your kid is too different, risky, irresponsible, unreasonable, or stubborn.
What is this nonsense? I wanted my son to become a doctor.
Join the club. It's time to talk.
Your generation was asleep.
Us and them, when generations clash. Starts January 14th on DW.
This is kind of fun. It feels like therapy.
This group is hunting for some of the world's rarest eggs. They are searching for the endangered kiwi birds of Aotearoa, New Zealand, to steal their eggs and save them from predators. Almost 95% of kiwi chicks